So no headlines today, straight into it. It would seem that Karrion Kross and Scarlett Bordeaux have parted ways with WWE.
There's a surprising one.
Yeah.
Because I thought with everything that was happening at the moment, the groundswell that they were getting from the fans, and the little pushes he's had here and there as well, I thought it was going to be a surefire thing that they keep him on.
Well, it's been well documented that their contracts were set to expire, but nothing had really been concrete about it. There was a lot of like, when we can tell you, we'll tell you, etc., etc. And a lot of people still kind of saying it's a bit up in the air. It could still be a work, but just in terms of the timeline of events, it was reported earlier in the year that Karrion Kross and Scarlett's WWE deals were set to expire in August. There was no update on new contract offers during any of that period of time, and then crowd support began to sort of grow for Kross. It was steadily getting bigger and bigger, as we saw at SummerSlam. There were people chanting "We want Kross." There were people, I mean, even other shows as well, but at SummerSlam in particular, Triple H was drowned out at the post-show thing that they do now instead of the presser. Crowd chanting "We want Kross," which he seemed to misinterpret as "We want Brock," adding to the frustration of his supporters, knowing what was going on contract-wise. It was then reported soon after that travel plans for Karrion Kross and Scarlett to attend last week's Raw were cancelled. Sami Zayn, who Kross was feuding with, appeared on SmackDown and seemed to set up a whole new angle with Solo Sikoa as US champion. Over the weekend, both Karrion Kross and Scarlett were then moved to the alumni section of the WWE roster page, and Fightful's reported that they've also been taken off the internal active roster.
Yeah, so Kross sort of says within his documentary, so he brought out a documentary on YouTube. I believe there was a part 1 before and a part 2. Yeah. Yes, part 2 came out, and midnight that got uploaded to the socials, and he was talking about sort of his popularity becoming a quote problem perhaps within WWE. The video is simply just titled "My WWE contract ends today," and the video follows the last few months of Kross's career throughout his rise in popularity and frustration to get acknowledged that came from it as well. He reveals in the documentary that WWE did, in fact, hold contract talks with him, but those talks left him with a bad taste in his mouth. He said, "Many months have gone by and we never had a single conversation about it until recently, and I don't even feel like the conversation I've had recently was like an actual serious one. The conversation made me really angry because I didn't feel like it was a real conversation. There really wasn't anything that was discussed of real substance. Actually, it didn't make me angry and it didn't make me upset. It just made me profoundly disappointed because I think about the business probably differently than the person I was speaking to because of the nature of what I do."
Is there anything like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed,
which is the worst thing you could possibly hear from anyone.
Yeah. So at one point in the documentary, he says that he was told to ignore the fan reaction as well. Saying, "I remember in the beginning, people were saying, 'Hey, I wouldn't take it seriously. It's not going to last.' Or, 'Hey, let's see if it's real when you go out there tonight, or if it's still there when we're in a different city or a different state.' Then when it was still there and it got louder and louder and louder every week, that went away, and it was kind of like, well, we're not really ready to fully embrace that."
That's crazy.
We can't be having you getting over Mr. Kross.
No. There will be no Karrion Kross today. I find that so crazy because within WWE's history, there's been huge moments where that groundswell has really gotten behind someone and you make genuinely fantastic moments out of it as well.
Look at the stars that have come from that kind of setup, like Steve Austin, Daniel Bryan. These massive moments come from that groundswell of support. But apparently he says he was being told by certain people, don't acknowledge it, which felt really wrong because having a connection with the audience, especially one like this, doesn't just come around for everybody, and that's it, isn't it? It's like lightning in a bottle.
I think that's it, and it's the same for, I guess, obviously this is a bit of a different situation because obviously Austin Theory is out with injury at the moment, but it feels like for a long time people really weren't getting behind him, and he's finally started to get that connection with the crowd, and when you get that, why would you not want to hold on to it? And I feel like as a performer within that setting too, if the crowd are really getting behind you, how can you How can you not
you've got
acknowledge
to
it in
feed
some
off
way?
the energy, don't you? That's
Exactly.
what everybody always says whenever you like listen to interviews of wrestlers with those huge moments. It's like you feed off that crowd response and then you put that back into the performance, which then elevates the crowd response further.
Exactly.
He said it wasn't something that was constructed or thought of. It happened organically through a series of events, and I wouldn't even say it's something that happened recently this year. This is something that's happening because of what happened over the last 3 years. And then he goes on to say he feels like it's him building a relationship with the WWE audience is being treated like it's rebellious and like it's a problem.
Oh, that's such just a weird thing.
But I understand why so many people are seeing this as a work, though.
Yeah, me too. It's going to be really
too
interesting.
Much like, no. We could sell more merch and we could have another star in our hands. No, we don't need that. Record profits, bro.
Yeah, again, it's such a weird one. But then Karrion Kross and Scarlett then announced their WWE departures. They confirmed it on social media. Scarlett wrote, "My time in WWE has been an incredible ride, and I can truly say it's been the best locker room I've ever been a part of. These people aren't just co-workers, they're family. I love you all, and I'll deeply miss seeing you every week. To the fans, you've never just been a crowd. You've been our partners in every fight, and the reason we give everything for this. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. The next chapter starts now, and I'm ready to bring something unforgettable to any stage, anywhere in the world. If you want the smoke show on your show, let's make it happen."
I have to get them on CCW with Owen.
Just the whole room filled with smoke.
Kross then simply took to his socials to say, "Hey, Life is Fighting, right? Now accepting bookings. Life is Fighting is the name of his book, which is out right now, which he's on a massive tour for, which is another thing feeding into the whole work side of things. He's listed on the cover of the book as WWE superstar Karrion Kross. So could it just be a career break? Maybe just to do some publicity for the book and then sort of go on from there. Fightful believe that Kross with Scarlett will address their personal situations further over the next couple of days. We've got the Backstage reaction here as well to their departure, with Fightful Select reporting sources in WWE both on the talent end and the creative end claim that they've been told that as of now the departure is real. Fightful continued by saying there were a number of WWE talent that they spoke to that were surprised things came down to the wire like this. WWE had apparently been getting ahead of contracts on the last year or so since former EVP of talent Dan Ventrell left the company. One top talent simply said they hope it gets sorted out and the two remain with the company, but AEW's Dustin Rhodes took to Twitter to post, or X to post, "I understand the good soldier thing all too well. Sucks. He's a great dude."
Yeah.
It's just something's off. Something's really off.
It does feel a little bit off.
They've been getting way ahead of contracts, and yes, Kross might have been really far down the pecking order until this sort of groundswell behind him. But all we were hearing was he was doing good merch numbers. He was doing he was getting a massive response. Crowds seemed to be really warming up to him and Scarlett. Things sort of were on the upswell, and now it's just like, nah.
Like you said though, with everything that's sort of surrounding it at the same time, it does feel maybe as though there's more to it than initially what we're seeing at the moment.
There's more to the situation than this, and I am assuming over the next few days we're going to hear more and more of this coming out. But there is always the question, as we've been sort of leaning on: could it be potentially? Is it possibly a work?
Is it a work? Is it all one big work with Kross, Scarlett, and WWE using all the speculation and outcry to further Kross and Scarlett's story in WWE? I mean, that kind of feels like a thing to do.
Well, look, if the people want you and the system are pushing you down and pushing you away, the people are just going to want you even more. So I'd imagine over the next few weeks, it's just going to be lots of "we want Kross" chants. I'm assuming we're going to see more and more of that with the audience, and I'm hoping that it maybe leads to a good storyline down the road, but I'm starting to lean toward this maybe being a work.
Well, Fightful Select reached out to numerous promotions regarding Karrion Kross, and some, including MLW, assumed that the whole thing with Kross and Scarlett was a work indeed. They added that in the event that it wasn't, he wouldn't be out of work for long though. Obviously, previously, Kross and Scarlett worked for TNA and AAA. However, both being involved with WWE may mean a return to those promotions isn't currently possible with them sort of working together, and also the acquisition of AAA.
I did see a lot of people saying that he might just turn up in AAA or TNA as a means of being more rebellious.
Oh, like the rebellious guy going around doing whatever
he's going to go to
wants.
all of their other places and just do what he wants. Yeah.
So how do you feel about it? Do you think it's a lost opportunity for them to drop this whilst the groundswell is there?
Look, I think that, again, it's like lightning in a bottle. You've got it. You may as well use it. So for me, it might have been that they couldn't reach terms on a contract. We don't really know the length of these discussions, only that Kross never saw them as something serious from his side. It could have been contractual if it's legitimate. It could have just been a part of the ways that they decided on a long time ago, and maybe they've got bookings sort of clued out and they don't know how to factor them in. I am leaning toward it potentially being a work. Yeah. It feels like having that sort of support and that groundswell, as we've said, doesn't come around for just everybody. It feels like it should be capitalized on, and it does feel like if the company publicly goes like, no, then it's just going to lead to even more support. So I'm sort of like 50-50. I'm of the mind that it could potentially be a work, and I think for Karrion Kross's character, the mystique and the mystery surrounding it sort of works in his favor in that sense. Yeah. But then on the other side of things, I feel like WWE at the moment have such a tunnel vision of who they want to focus on and the stories they want to push, that if something starts to get a bit of groundswell from outside of that vision, it's not necessarily something that they are going to fully think about and invest in. Will we find out about it on Unreal Season 2? Will we? Yeah, or will we find out about it on Raw tonight? Yeah, he could just pop up. If he buys a ticket, he's a member of the public then. See, they can't do anything about it. What are they going to do? Yeah, what are they going to do? What are they going to do, huh? But that's it for the first news of the day. We'll be back later on with some more, but we thought we'd just run down the whole Karrion Kross situation. But we will be back later, as I said. Ta-ta, bye.